Since the Industrial Revolution, toxic chemicals have been deposited in soils and waterways and have negatively impacted humans and the environment. A notable case is the Love Canal catastrophe in Niagara Falls, New York, where a substantial amount of industrial chemical waste from the production of dyes and other products had been placed in a landfill that was in close proximity to residential dwellings. This waste contaminated soils and groundwater, causing severe health problems, thereby forcing almost 1,000 families to be evacuated from their homes. As a result of this and other widely publicized environmental contamination incidents, Congress passed the Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation and Liability Act in 1980. This act of Congress is commonly known as Superfund. The goals of this legislation are to protect human health and environment by cleaning up contaminated sites, make responsible parties pay for cleanup work, involve communities in the Superfund process, and return Superfund sites to productive use. This act empowers the Environmental Protection Agency, also known as the EPA, to organize cleanup and remediation activities, or compel individuals or corporations that engaged in contamination to participate in cleanup activities. As of 2021, there are over 1,300 Superfund sites in the United States that have been placed in the National Priorities List. Common contaminants at these sites include mercury, lead, arsenic, and organic compounds such as polychlorinated biphenyls, also known as PCBs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, also known as PAHs. The EPA does a search for all who are accountable for contamination and refers to them as potentially responsible parties. These could be corporations or governmental entities. Examples of Superfund sites owned or managed by a governmental entity are the Oak Ridge Reservation in Tennessee and the Savannah River site in South Carolina. The responsible entity in both cases is the U.S. Department of Energy. These parties can either take corrective action under the supervision of the EPA or compensate the EPA when the agency on its own undergoes a cleanup process. In the case where the potentially responsible parties cannot be identified, the EPA can acquire funds from the Superfund program to engage in the cleanup of contaminated sites. By law, the EPA must involve communities in the Superfund process. The EPA would meet with community members to explain cleanup plans, answer questions from concerned folks, and obtain feedback. The EPA, under the Superfund program, makes every effort to return Superfund sites to productive use when it is safe to do so or after cleanup work is deemed complete. There are spectacular examples of these efforts. In the case of the Superfund site named W.R. Grace and Company in Massachusetts, a site that was previously contaminated with chemical waste is now the location of a 4.5 megawatt solar array. This power plant supplies over 600 homes. There are also plans to build a wastewater treatment facility and a school bus depot on this site. So, to summarize, the goals of the Superfund program are to protect human health and the environment by cleaning up contaminated sites, make responsible parties pay for cleanup work, involve communities in the Superfund process, and return Superfund sites to productive use. Now, not all contaminated sites qualify as Superfund sites. In another video, I will talk about the protocol the EPA uses to determine what qualifies as a Superfund site and the entire process from the time the EPA is notified of a potential problem to the resolution of the case, which may take decades. On the Superfund topic, another video of interest is this one about the remediation of Berries Creek, a Superfund site in New Jersey that is thought by many to be one of the most contaminated freshwater systems in the United States. If you're still watching at this point, this means that you clearly like this type of content. Please go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. You may not know it, but doing this helps me out a lot. Thank you.